Ladies and gentlemen, Tactical Advance here, and welcome to a ship review today. Now, we've actually taken a look at the Freelancer before, but this is the newly reworked Freelancer. We don't really need to go for the stats today. I'll leave a link to all my previous reviews on the Freelancer that you can take a look at that goes through the stats in a little bit more detail. But today, we're just looking around the changes that have been made. If you're familiar with the Freelancer, you'll be probably aware that there's some quite significant changes. The whole ship has sort of changed, I suppose. It's sort of, you could still identify it as obviously the Freelancer, but the front end, sort of the look and the feel and the weapons design, it's had a massive overhaul, and this is including the interior as well. So we're going to have a look around anyway. We're going to start from the front. Let's have a look at that front screen first of all. We'll talk about that when we get inside. And we can actually see the lights on inside there. It's pretty cool. Front nose, there's quite a big gap there actually between the actual front screen and the it's odd, isn't it? You would have thought the screen would have actually utilised all the way to the front. Going around this side, not quite sure what that is there. It's a bit odd, doesn't it? All the old legs, door there. Nice branding. I think there's mixed feelings about this sort of panel work. A lot of people have been, some people say they don't like it, some people do say they do like it, and also about the material. But saying that, I'm thinking that the Freelancer is a sort of, I don't want to say cheap ship, you know, cheap to repair. And I suppose the paneling sort of makes sense, doesn't it? Because you just swap a panel out, rather than sort of changing a whole entire wing. So, definitely feels into that sort of economical sort of ship, I suppose, maybe. Now these do look really, really good. I don't know if you've noticed in Star Citizen in general, most of the sort of the big sort of, you know, the class 2, 2s and 4s and upwards, the designs are all the same. This is probably the first time we've actually seen something pretty big that has really, really good fidelity and detail and does look really, really cool. Let's run over here, I'll show you that. Look pretty serious, don't they? I like the design of them. Do they fit in with the ship? I'm not really sure. I suppose they do, I suppose. Let's get that bit close and have a look and see what they're about. They do look pretty serious, don't they? Wires running down the front there. And obviously they do rotate as well, so you've got a good bit of obviously they're not going to point to the reverse, obviously, because obviously that wing's in the way. Let's look under here. I have actually tried this out in the 2.1, but there's a little bit of sound bug at the moment. There's a couple of little bugs, so sort of put me off sort of really giving it a good test. And there is some bugs with the ship. I say bugs with the ship, some balancements that need to be made, I think, before we get a closer realistic flight of how it should be, I think. Obviously you've got missiles bolted on here. And obviously the only disadvantage with this particular one, obviously you can't reload these ones, so once you've actually fired them, they've actually gone. Some warning stickers here. We've got some huge legs coming out the bottom there. We'll look around this side. We get in here, can we? Not much happening in there, is there? A few more warning signs. They're almost like big bomb bays, aren't they? Look, you can see that they sort of open up and just eat the leg. Moving back here. Let's have a look. Nice big wing. Everything's been overhauled. I think this is definitely in line with all the new modern ships now. I say modern, not as in like, you know, make of manufacture. I mean, as in physical textures and, yeah, I suppose some physical textures and up to date with the latest engine capabilities, I suppose. There's still quite a few other ships I'd like to see have a bit of a rework, particularly the Cutlass. The Cutlass and the Hornet, I think that popular ships, and I think they deserve a bit of a skim over to make them look a bit nicer, you know. And obviously we've seen sort of around this side, the thrusters look quite good now, I must admit. And it's got that sort of like blue light as well. You can actually see the top mount gun over there as well on top there. Just about. Push around this side a little bit and see what else we can see. We can jump in the cockpit and probably get a bit of a view. You can see a little hump there as well on the top. We'll take a look at that. See the manoeuvre thruster up there. Is that an actual little light there on the could be lights on that thing there, could be. Oh, and then beast mode guns. It's got a good amount of weaponry, I must admit. Let's pop round the back now. Let's open this back door up. There's some signs here, actually. Did sort of make sense when I was actually standing. I looked at the sign. It actually says, look, stand clear, because it squashes your hands. And I would actually disagree. I would actually say it squashes your head. As you see, it's not your hands you've got to worry about, is it? Looks absolutely fantastic. The whole design, the way that I like the way they put these scratches here. It sort of makes sense, doesn't it? On sort of like a tail lift, you expect cargo to be shifting in and out. I know it's brand new and it should be probably like that as of yet, but you get the idea. Pretty cool, isn't it? Now we saw this in the presentation video, didn't we? It does look absolutely fantastic, doesn't it? Little panel there. Is that actually? All right. Okay. Cool. Door's locked. Oh, I'm quite surprised they didn't actually put it on the door. So they're actually buttons. Alright, I see. Okay, fair enough. Now it's going for these new sort of magnetic floor locks for the cargo. And a couple of people said, oh look, that doesn't look like you can get a lot of cargo in there. My thoughts were, well I suppose if the box has got overhang, so you know the magnetic bit goes here and the cargo container runs to here, then sort of makes sense, doesn't it? Because then this one will run to about here, where the red line is, and then this one would probably run quite near close to the door, wouldn't it? Probably about here. We haven't seen the actual cargo containers, but that sort of makes sense. And you can actually see quite clearly it's got big massive writing there saying cargo, so not expecting the containers to actually not just be little containers this size, but to be containers, you know, maybe twice the size or 3 times the size of that, I suppose. What have we got in here anyway? So wires. I don't know if it's a good idea to run wires over a magnet. Probably not the best idea, is it? Nice little floor catches there. These cargo nets. There's a button there as well, look. Well, I called it a button because the other one was a button, wasn't it? This is a bit weird, isn't it? You've got this little panel here. I don't know if that's just like... There's one over here as well, just like a little bit of a light on it. There's no other panels like that. Well, there is one there, I suppose. You're just in a tin box here, really. You're getting the impression there's not much protecting you from the outside here, is there? Because you've got this here, which is blatantly the exterior hull. Obviously, we've got the gunner's seat. Actually, we can actually get in this. We couldn't actually get in this in the previous... There we go. No sound on it at the moment. You couldn't actually get this... sorry, couldn't actually get in this seat before in the previous... Well, that's the first observation. That's a bit of a bummer, isn't it? Having that in the way, isn't it? I'm sure you're about to shoot over that. Oops, on the floor. Oh, it's a bit hard to control like this. So that's a bit of a bummer, having that hump there. That hump go away? Oh, that's funny, isn't it? Let's look at that. What's that about? Weird, isn't it? Might have to go and check on the site and see what the hump for. It looks like it moves, doesn't it? Sorry guys, it's quite difficult just to aim like this. You can see what I mean? See that sort of that hump thing in the middle? Look, if I move around this side, look. See it there? It's almost like a... Quite sure what that is, actually. Let me know in the comments, guys. Everyone knows what that thing does in the middle. Is it just there for show? Not really sure, but it does hinder the gunner's view from the front view a little bit, doesn't it? Obviously, he's going to be fine shooting in any other direction, but shooting forwards. Saying that, obviously you've got the big guns down there, so, you know, the pilot could be doing that. And you can see the hatch there as well. We're probably not going to get to go through that unless we're EVAing, so it's a bit of a tricky one, isn't it? I suppose you can... It's really a tail gunner, really, isn't it? Tail defense, you could call it that. Let's have a look. Let's pop around this way. Can't really get any closer to sort of see how far he can shoot down. I mean, he can shoot to the rear, shoot to the left and right, but he definitely obviously can't shoot down, if you know what I mean. So the ship would have to be slightly tilted, I should imagine. Pop back inside. We haven't really got much in here. It's obviously not quite finished, you can see by the hands. So, let's jump out of here. Obviously a little bit of work to be done there. At least you can actually get in it now. There we go, we out? Yeah, we're out. Okay. Now I've noticed on a couple of other ships as well, it looks like RSI have been, or Star Citizen have been trying different lights. I don't know if you've noticed. These are sort of like daylight bulbs, like, you know, sunbed bulbs, if you know what I mean, like white light, if that makes any sense. And it does, and this is, I tell you why I picked up on this, because when I got in here the first time and I walked through, there was a transition that happened. I just couldn't work out why it just looked differently, and I think it was the lighting. Because when you come, I mean, that's obviously white light. I think it was in here. There's some crazy stuff going on the floor there. It's obviously bugged out. It's obviously the airlock. We're obviously going to have to have buttons here, aren't we? Right, because can't be standing in the door opens and you want an EVA. In fact, actually, by the looks of it, I can't see a ladder. You might have to press a button and then deactivate the gravity and then maybe EVA up and open the door. I don't know. Actually, there's going to have to be a ladder. If someone docks on it, we'll have to wait and see how that works. So you would have thought there'd been a ladder or something that comes down. Now, when you come in here, the lighting obviously changes. I don't know, just look a bit... Maybe it's a bit more calmer. Says there, airlock. Some wires running around. Let's start on this end. A rack there. We can't really interact with that. What's that down there? Look. Let's see if we can have a look at that. So that's going to be a... That's probably where... That's, you know what that is? That's probably something to do with when the damage states, maybe. Or maybe some fire comes out there to burn your feet. Very conveniently. I did try and mess about with this, but... I don't know, it's got some action, but you can't... Tried. Okay, don't mess with the door because you get stuck in there, guys. I just got stuck. Interesting to see how that's going to work. Some nice pipes running over the top there. The detail in here just looks way better. I mean, this is on a different planet to where the previous ship was on textures and realism, I suppose. See what I mean by the lights? I open the door, look, see what I mean, look. No, it's been a bit odd, but just the lighting's different, that's all. Got the beds. Beds double up as the escape pods. Pretty cool. Be interesting to see as well. I don't know if we got down here. Oh, we've got one down there as well, look. Be interesting to see, like, if they, while you're lying in your bed, you can actually interact with the screen. That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? So you can actually do basic functions, like check the power or something. I suppose you don't really want them to do the whole thing, do you? Else everyone just be lying in the bed all the time. Just get in one, let's have a look, see what happens. Oh, I'm getting in the top one. Well, that's handy. I'm lying up, so my feet are basically doing the power controls here. So I'm going to be doing everything with my feet by the looks of it. Yeah, you don't get a very good view here, do you? Obviously, he's getting in the wrong way, or the screen's not on the right way yet. I'm guessing. I think they've probably made the animations for getting in on one side. Yeah, if you look on this side. So I reckon on this side it might work, look. I reckon. Let's try. Yeah, so the animations are set for one side. So it looks like you should might... Well, it's not quite in the middle, is it? But you should be able to do basic controls, like basic stuff. Or maybe just see where you are in the universe while you're AFK or whatever. Escape pods as well. Makes sense, doesn't it? What else have we got up here? Did we never look on the ceiling? I don't think we missed anything, did we? Obviously these consoles here, I'm sure these will be doing stuff later on down the line. Also, I've noticed as well, the floor now is it's a lot wider than before. And I think when they made the original one, they probably didn't give it, I don't understand what I say, they probably didn't give it that much thought. No, it's not fair to say. They probably just didn't think that actually you're going to have two people walking up here, passing each other, and you can't clip. It would have been very annoying. So now you can sort of get the, there's enough room there probably for two people to squeeze past. We'll have to try it. I'm sure you better run past someone. And you can see that the gangways and the doors have been improved as well. You're going to get people trolling you, and you're standing in the way of the door, aren't you? And then the final bit, shall we move in here? Is the cockpit. I do like what they've done, but there is some negativity here, guys, and we'll get to that in a minute. And this stuff looks absolutely awesome, doesn't it? Must admit, I mean, it's way, way better than the previous. I mean, if you actually look at the previous one or go and look at an old video now of the Freelancer, you know what I mean? It looks horrendous, but you wouldn't have said that if the Freelancer... You don't realise the improvements they're making with the designs and stuff and the realism. You would have thought they've been removing polys and making it look worse so they can, you know, get better. Yes, but it just seems to be getting better, which is fantastic for us. We're going to jump in a few seats anyway and try them all out. We're just going to have a quick look around, see what we got. I can't really see anything too interesting. We try one of these back ones first, and then we get to the... let's try this one. I haven't actually sat in one of these ones yet. That's not bad, is it? I don't know. Maybe it wants to, like... Oh, he's got his hands on his legs as well. I don't know. Maybe that wants to come up a bit. You know what I mean? So it's in front of your face a little bit. You can't see anything here anyway, can you? So you don't need to have a view out the window. I'm not too keen on having that sitting next to me. Flame. It's not good, is it? Let's get out of that one. We get the idea on that, don't we? These doors opening and closing a bit annoying. So buttons would be better, wouldn't they? And then the final one. Let's get in the front one. The boss's seat. It's a bit dark. Oh, hello. Pretty good. Now there is some negativity here, guys, and I'm sure I haven't actually seen much feedback on it. I'm quite surprised that the Freelancer people haven't sort of moaned about it and said something. And sort of looking at it in front of me, guys, I mean, the viewing is no way as good as the previous one. Look, I know there's a sacrifice here, guys, because the original Freelancer seat was about 5 miles in front that way. And this window is very, very narrow. I'm fine with having a staff area with a narrow window, you know, you're flying through space doing hauling. This has got a really good gun loadout, and you're going to be... And the MISC, you know, see where this is going. If there's a ship in front of you and he's, let's say, I'll say relatively close, let's say 300-400 out, and he flies vertically, you know, up. Okay, you might be able to see him up there, but you're going to have to start moving the ship to try and keep him in line with you, if you know what I mean, because it's just very narrow, guys. I don't know what you think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Do you think it's a bit narrow? Do you think you should be sitting a bit further forward? I don't know. Just, for me, it's I don't know. I'm not that impressed with the this sort of view. If it would have been there in the first Freelancer, I would have been more bought into it. You know, I would have known what to expect. Because it's gone the other way, it's a bit, I don't know. I'm not too keen on it, guys. I have to be honest here. I'm sure that you could argue, yeah, it's a space trucker. Yeah, I get that, but it's if it was like that to start with, cool. But it's gone back the other way. You can see now. I mean, I could probably actually jump on it. I mean, it's like, you know, look at this room. Is there really? Does it really need to be that far back? I don't know. Or can't we make this wider? This, you know, make this line here go up further so you can see more, make it more glass or something? Either way, look, I mean, I understand the purpose of the ship. There's no harm in, regardless of what sort of ship it is adding a bit more, let's say, view range and visual capability. Because that's not really going to help, really, is it? But let me know in the comments and let me know what you think, guys. Because, like I said, for me, this was a little bit of a downer when I saw this. I was quite sort of disappointed to see how narrow view it is and how much you can't see. I haven't really given it a massive go in 2.1, guys, because there's loads of bugs in it and it's flying, you know, it's really flying things at the moment. There's absolutely no point turning around and saying, oh, this is really good, get this ship because it's really good in 2.1. I guarantee every single ship that is in 2.1, 2.2 and the next patches the next year, every ship is going to be changed. So you've got to use these sort of flight tests as such a ballpark, you know, estimate of what the ship's actually really going to be like, because we've only had 2 multi-crew ships come into the game. And they've already noticed that they have to balance these bigger ones out so they last longer. If they balance these ones to last longer, that then has an effect on other ships as well. And there's lots of other factors to take into consideration as well. Originally, RSI looked at Arena Commander and adjusted the shield capabilities based on time to death ratio. And if you watch my previous video on that police interceptor, they can't do time to death ratio anymore. I'm pretty certain they can't, but not with Super Cruise, because they reduced time to death ratio down. That means then you're going to just die really quick. Quick conversation about that video. A lot of people were saying, oh, you know, they don't like these long fights. But look, my thinking is the last thing I want to be, guys, is when I'm flying a small ship and I don't want to have a fight. If I'm in a little rur or something attacks me and I want to get out there and Super Cruise away, I don't want to be instantly killed. Super Cruise is a good option, right? The long fights, for me, is a good option. You don't have to do it. You can slow down. You can fly at, you know, 250, 290, 310 or whatever and have them sort of fights you can do. But Super Cruise is very good for evasion as well. Obviously, you can warp out there, but for big ships like this, if you're just doing some cargo runs and you just want to get out there, you could just Super Cruise out there and he'll probably just leave you alone. I see the positive sides, but it's going to be interesting to see how they balance these stats out. I'm not really sure how they're going to do it. I'm sure we know that they're going to be doubling the capacity of the Constellation and the Retaliator, because obviously it's dying too quick, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm interested anyway. So really, with these sort of ships at the moment in 2.1 and 2.0, it's really difficult to give a proper opinion about the ship, yeah? The only thing we can actually do at the moment is give the opinion based on the physical stats and what it says on the RSI site and what we assume it to perform like in the persistent universe when, let's just say, you know, we're 95% there from a balancing point of view. So that's it today, guys. I do like it. I must admit, it looks absolutely incredible. The only negativity for me is that front screen. I mean, I'm sure that the comments will erupt and people are saying, oh, it's fine. But for me, it's put a little bit of a downer on that for me, because not having that, not being able to... I just feel that they could have made the viewing angles slightly better than they currently are. Because you've got to take this in consideration, guys. Look, not only were we sitting far back in the seat there, and I could almost stand on the dash, we've got a foot in front of us. So then you can add that inside. So you're actually a foot further away from the front corner of the screen. Let me know in the comments what you think, guys. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed the video today. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye now.